Let's talk about money. It's always a fun topic, especially if you're in the world of television news. It's also kind of good to get paid because that's one of the reasons why we're out doing this. So one of the first things is for the first time since 2012, local salaries fell in 2019, whereas before then, every year they would always go up by 1% or 2% or 3%. Whereas the following year before, there was a 3% increase in rate. There was a 3.1% increases. Wages rose by almost 1%. And this is also kind of accounting for inflation, but overall, real wages kind of just fell by 1.4% after the previous year's 3% increase. So basically, television is still a paying industry. It is going to be around for a while. And with things like COVID coming into effect, we're still kind of seeing a stagnant kind of salaries just staying the same. But for the previous 7 years from 2012 to 2019, there was always anywhere from like a 2 to 3% raise. And we'll probably wind up seeing that again once we start moving the economy and the market back towards what we had pre-COVID. But that's also going to change the way that technology and information and news gathering and news presentations is pretty much going to change. Now, one of the things to consider is the great words of poultry king Frank Perdue. Basically, he said, don't just go for the job that offers the most pay. Go for the job that offers the most advancement. So if you're right out of college and someone offers you the head station manager position, chances are you're going to be stuck at that for as long as you're still at that position. Now, granted, you're probably not going to get a station manager's job right out of college. But one of the things that they always say is there's a phrase that you always kind of hear when you're applying for a job, and it's going to be, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Well, if in 5 years you see yourself still at this job, chances are you're not going to have an advancement. You're probably not going to have an increase in pay. So this is one thing to always consider when you're looking at jobs. And so he says, look for jobs that have the most advancement. So if you get a first job and you're making $40,000 a year, it's going to be hard to go up from that. But also, if it's a job that you love and it's something you love doing, then that's a good balance. So he says, pursue what you love and the money will follow. So when you're looking at jobs in television, that's one of the reasons why we always talk about going through markets. You're going to have to go from a smaller market for a year or two, go to a medium-sized market, you may do another one, and then you may move up to a higher market. In the case of Chris Cato, he went to a number 4 market, wasn't happy what he was doing, and he went back down to a number 11 market and was able to find a job that was perfect for him and something that he does in fact love to do every night. So let's take a look at the salaries for 2019 at a glance. So if you're looking to be like a news director, on average, they're going to make about $108,000 a year, which this is a pretty good job. Now, and there's been changes, like the minimum news director salary is $26,000. This is probably Glendive, Montana. The maximum, $350,000 a year. This may be one of your larger markets like Los Angeles, Chicago, New York are probably going to get those bigger digits, but on average about 100,000. If you want to go into producing, become an executive producer, you're going to make about 60,000. News anchors, depending on the city and market you're in, you can probably make up to 87,000 a year. If you look at stations like New York, they're probably making $500,000 a year because they are the face and the branding of that station, and people rely on what they say and how they look and how they present it. So they're going to pay them a little bit more. For a much smaller station, a news anchor may only make $21,000. If you want to get into sports anchor could be about 60,000. News anchor news reporter could be about 50,000. A news producer can on average make about 37,000. It can go up. You can also see a minimum of about 20,000, a maximum of 130, and other things like digital content managers. These newer positions for a manager of digital content. If you understand social media, then you could easily make 50,000. In the higher markets, you might even make up to like 140. So television is not going to be one of those great high-paying millionaire jobs that you're going to get right out of college. It's going to be it's going to be decent pay, but it's one of those things that you're not going to get that right out of college. So you're going to have to start at the smaller markets, making the lower income. And then with time, experience, and moving up, getting that advancement, you're going to wind up getting better jobs that are going to pay more in the long run. And then you're going to probably find yourself in a market, in a station, at a position that you really love and the people that you really like working with. And you might say, you know what, this is where I want to be for quite a while. But you also want to make sure that you are keeping up with everything the station is doing. So if the station is trying to modernize their content, the information, the way they do it, make sure that you're following along with them and that you're keeping the attention that the station is drawing and going along with it. So all in all, that's just kind of a look at the income and money that goes into a television station, and you get a glance of kind of